Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Floss, back again with another video. And today we're going to do the real review of the iPhone 5S. Now, first off, let me start by saying this. The reason I call it the real review, I'm not trying to say that other people's reviews are fake. No, I call it the real review because I'm a real customer. I buy these phones off contract. I'm using them on my personal accounts, and I don't work for none of these companies. So I don't got no reason to be biased or give y'all some fake information. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Now, like any other product that I review, I like to talk about everything I don't like first, and then we'll get into everything I do like. So let's get right into it. First off, what don't I like about the iPhone 5S? Well, number one is the size. The iPhone 5S is just too small. All right, now you got a 4-inch display. It's a beautiful display, don't get me wrong, but it's just too small. Look at my hands. So this phone is just too small for me. Now keep in mind, everything I don't like, these are just my personal opinions. If you don't like them, maybe you have different opinions, that's up to you. But me personally, this phone is just too small. Especially when you're using certain apps like maps, you're trying to use navigation and you want to see a big view of all the streets. It's just too small. And if you're trying to use this phone as a business phone and you're dealing with spreadsheets and all of that, you're going to be doing a lot of pinch to zoom, a lot of scrolling. Same thing when you looking at Twitter and you're looking at certain web pages. You're going to be pinch to zoom in all day. When you get on the web, you're going to be scrolling back and forth all day. So the screen is just too small for my personal size. Now, keep in mind, if you look at other phones, if you look at this in my hand, I could easily grip this. It's a nice, comfortable size and all of that, but it's just too small. Even the Galaxy S4, this is around mid-size phone. This is about the size that, a decent phone should have at least a 4.5 to 5-inch screen. That's me personally. But my personal preference is phones like the Galaxy Note and the HTC One Max. I like giant phones because I use my phones for business also. So when I'm dealing with a spreadsheet or something, I can see the whole spreadsheet very easily. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm on the web or whatever, I could get a whole web page without having to pinch to zoom, without having to keep scrolling. So the screen on the iPhone 5S is just too small. All right, so that's the first thing I don't like is the screen. Way too small. 4 inches ain't enough. That ain't cutting it. Next, the battery. Now, you got a 1,570 milliamp battery. Now, I just took this off the charger a couple of minutes ago, so right now it's at a full charge. But the battery on this phone is just not cutting it. Now, one thing I will say about Apple, they know how to optimize, their OS. So standby time is ridiculous. You can take your phone off at 100% charge, go to sleep, wake up overnight, and it might be at 97. So the standby time on it is ridiculous. But I've been using this phone basically as my main phone all week. And, I'm an internet warrior, so I'll be online, Twitter, Foursquare, Google+, I'll be all day, Facebook, Instagram. You're not going to get a full day of battery use with this. Especially nowadays, phones like the Note and the Max coming out with 3,000 milliamp, 3,400 milliamp. Battery size getting ridiculous now. This battery just not cutting it. All right, so the battery life on this is a little bit too small. Now, like I said, the apps are optimized. It's pretty good. If you're not an internet warrior, then, it's going to last you all day. But if you're online all day on Instagram and Facebook all day, you're going to need to have a backup charger with you. So that's another thing I'm not feeling is the battery. Next, the speakers on the bottom. Now, it looks like dual speakers, but it's really not dual speakers. It's speakers on one side. The sound kind of gets pushed to the other side because there's a microphone on this side. So it's really not dual speakers. So when you're holding the phone, if you're holding it like this in your hand and a piece of your fingers covering up the speaker, it's going to get muffled out. And the speakers, they're just not that loud. Now, don't get me wrong. It's quality speakers. But if you're buying a phone that's specifically designed, like your main intention is to be playing music all day and watching videos, and you like to hear, it pretty loud, then I suggest you pass on the iPhone and get yourself an HTC One or HTC One Max. You see how I got dual speakers on the front? These are real dual speakers. Sound comes out of both sets of speakers. All right, so the iPhone speakers, they're not bad, but they're not the best. Definitely not the best. Next thing I don't like about this iPhone 5S is iOS 7. Now, that goes both ways because I'll talk about what I do like about iOS 7, but there's a couple of things in iOS 7 that, that all this time, Apple still hasn't changed. Now, let me just say this real quick. The days of arguing about which phone is better, Android and Apple. Remember all the Apple fanboys back in the days, their main argument would be, well, the iPhone doesn't lag. Well, those days are over. Okay, HTC, Samsung, Android all together, they caught up with Apple. There's no more lag on the Android phone, so that argument is basically irrelevant now. You know what I'm saying? So let's be clear about that. The days of Apple being the undisputed, best phone because it's the smoothest phone out, those days is over. So one thing I will say that I don't like about iOS 7, which you think that they, as much as they, and don't get me wrong, I'm not hating, but as much as they copy stuff from Android, you would think that there's still a way to get rid of all your apps at once. Now, like I said, if you're an online warrior like me and you're running mad apps all day, and you want to, save your battery and you want to cut down on your RAM, after a while, you're going to have to start closing out apps. Now, I got a bunch of apps open at once. There's still no way that you could close all your apps at once. You're still going to have to swipe them one by one. And there's days that I literally have 10, 15 apps open at a time. And, you don't want to keep all that stuff running in the background. So it's just just a headache. You got to keep swiping everything one by one. Is that a big deal? No. But, if you got your Android phones, I'll just show you a quick example. Let me pull out my HTC One Max. Not my HTC One Max, because even the HTC One Max, you can't do that either. Let me get that clear. But on certain phones, which is my favorite phone right now, the Galaxy Note 3, when you want to kill all your apps, one button and kill all your apps. So, it's little things like that make a big deal if you're a heavy user. And another thing about iOS 7 that I can't stand is the new animations. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the way they look. They're pretty and all of that. It looks, new, nice and cute. But the thing I hate about the new animations is when you open your phone, it's a nice little, delay. You see that? So say you got your phone set up like mine, and say you got your Gmail app on the second page, or your Skype. All right, say I want to Skype real quick. Now, once I turn my phone on, I already know I'm going to the second page. I turn it on. I can't just swipe to the second page. You can't do that. Now, let me give you an example on an Android phone real quick, how that makes a difference. And it's just little things like this that, just get it kind of annoying. You see what I'm saying? Now, say I take my HTC One Max out, open it up. I'm immediately swiping to the next pages. Immediately. All right, there's no pause, no delay. I just immediately swipe to the next page as soon as I open it up. When you got your iPhone, you can't do that. It's going to be a little bit of a lag. Now, this is just stuff that I, came across from playing with the phone all day. You know what I'm saying? Trying to use it as my main phone. Little things like that. Not a big deal, though. All right? And the main thing I don't like about this iPhone 5S, this will be the last thing I don't like about it for now, is it's non-customizable. And what I mean by that is, say you're in your messaging app, you're going to get your iOS keyboard. And that's the keyboard that you get. That's it. You're stuck with it. You can't change and add different keyboards. So now, is that a big deal? If you're a simple phone user, then that's not a big deal. If you're one of those people that like to just buy things and use them the way they are, then fine. That's not a big deal. But me, I'm the type of dude that I like customization. So when I get my Android phones, some days I'm going to use the stock Android keyboard. The next day I'm going to switch and use the swipe keyboard. You know what I'm saying? The next day after that, I'm going to use glided. It's like there's so many different keyboards. It depends on what you're doing. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, who cares about all that? I care. Because some days when I go to the bar or whatever and I'm chilling, I like to have my swipe set up. So this way, if I got my drink in one hand, I'm sipping, drinking, smoking, do whatever I do. If I want to be sending messages out, I'm just using swipe. I'm just swiping my messages real quick. And anybody who used swipe before knows that once you get used to that, swipe is a definite go. Okay, so no swipe keyboard, no different customizable keyboard, no customizing the icons and all of that. Now, don't get me wrong, you could jailbreak it. We're not talking about jailbreaking right now. We're talking about stock iOS 7. Okay, so not too customizable. So if you're a big fan of getting phones and making them your personal phone, customizing all the apps, customizing the keyboard, customizing the lock screen, customizing everything, you're not going to get that with iOS 7. It's basically, one size fits all. So that's what I don't like. Now let's get into some of the things about the iPhone 5S that I do like. First off, the build. Now the build on this phone is just, it's just a superior build when it comes to a lot of other phones such as Galaxies and, LG phones and even the, some of the especially the Samsung phones. Compared to the Apple phones, the build on this phone is just bananas. You have that nice metal finish to it. You have your buttons with the etched plus and minus on it. You have a physical switch for your vibration, you know, and it just feels classy. It feels premium. It has the glass on the back. It doesn't feel like a cheap phone. So when you buy yourself an iPhone 5S off contract and you spend, you know, $750, $800, you're going to get that feel like you just spent $800. It ain't going to feel like when you buy a Galaxy S4, it feels kind of plastic. Now, keep in mind, I do got the Dicon X battery charger case on it, but even the stock battery case and all of that, it just feels plastic. It feels kind of cheap. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're not going to get into drop tests and all of that because everybody knows that when you drop a Galaxy, you know, it's not going to break. If you drop your iPhone, the glass is definitely going to break. But it all depends. You can't really get too deep in all these drop tests because every drop is going to be different. When you watch a drop test and somebody just goes like this and drop the phone, that's not really how you drop your phone. And you don't just drop it like that. When you drop it out of your pocket, it's going to bounce. It might land on a rock that's on the ground. You know, it depends on how it falls. So this phone right here, you definitely don't want to drop, because it just has that feel like if you drop it, it's over. But all in all, I definitely love the build to it. I love the quality feel. I like the metal and the glass. It just feels great. So for all of y'all dudes who like rocking phones, raw dog with no case, then this is the kind of phone that you definitely like. It's just a little too small, but the build, solid 10. Definitely feeling the build. Next thing I like on this is the fingerprint scanner. That's probably one of my favorite little knickknacks that I like to play with on this iPhone 5S, the fingerprint scanner. It works flawlessly. Like I said, I've been using it for a whole week straight. The only time I realized that sometimes it didn't work too good is when I was eating some fried chicken, I had mad grease on my thumb. I noticed that it wasn't popping up too good. Yeah, you know, black people like fried chicken. I mean, it's not a stereotype. We do like fried chicken. Was the big deal. But I was eating some fried chicken and my hands was kind of greasy, so the fingerprint scanner wasn't working too good. But other than that, 99% of the time, it works perfect. You see, now it depends if you roll it to the side, you roll it to the front. But once you play with it for a couple of days and you get the hang of it, you'll know how to rest your finger on it and it'll work flawlessly. Now, compared to the fingerprint scanner, like on the HTC One Max, this one is trash. All right, it was a good concept and all of that, but it was trash. The fingerprint scanner on this one works perfect, and it just cuts out all of that annoying when you're trying to go. Now, me, I like buying paid apps. I like trying out new stuff. When you go to the app store and you know, you go to try to buy music and all that stuff, you got to keep putting in your password. At least now you could just use the Touch ID and bang, you right in there. So the fingerprint scanner is a definite selling point on this phone, especially if you got an iPhone 5 and you love that. Then upgrade and get the 5S because you're going to really like that fingerprint scanner. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. Now, I watched other videos. I seen people set up their toes. I seen people set up their pets. I seen the dude had his cat's fingerprint set up on it. You know, you could just wild out with it if you want. You know, that's just for fun. But basically, I didn't even set up, you know, any other fingers. I just set up my thumb because that's what I use to open my phone 99% of the time. Next thing I like about this phone is the speed. Now, like I said, Apple has always been known for having no lag on their phones. And this phone is no different. No lag on it. The phone is super fast, super smooth. When you go online, everything works good. Now, don't get involved in the spec wars, because if you look at it on paper, you got a 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor. You got 1 gig of RAM. On paper, this phone doesn't look like, you know, a flagship phone for 2013. If you look at it on paper, it looks exactly like the specs that we used to have on our old Android phones like 2 years ago. If you look at it on paper, do some research for yourself. Look at the Galaxy S2 specs. Same specs. Look at your HTC Evo 3D. Same specs as the iPhone 5S has right now. Same camera specs and all of that. But like I said, don't ever try to argue with me with specs. I like to argue with real life stuff and day-to-day use. So with day-to-day use, this phone is super fast. I don't even care about how many gigahertz and processors and all. I don't care about that. All I know is when I open up an app, it goes straight to that app. When I close out of the app, it closes out of the app. When I open up the next app, it goes straight to that app, close out, go to the next one. My multitasking, everything works good. Multitasking, everything works fine. So I like the speed of the phone. It's very fluid, and it's a typical Apple device. You know, I have no lags, no hiccups. I never had to restart this phone yet since I had it. So I'm really digging that. Next thing I like about it, the iOS 7. Now you heard the things I don't like about iOS 7, but there's some things I do like about it. I like the new kind of upgraded look to it. It looks more modern. The keyboard looks a lot better. I like this function when you swipe up from the bottom. You get your quick access to your airplane mode, your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, rotation. You get your brightness, everything level right there. You got your music on deck.
Very serious thing, and if you
Just play some music right here. Now this is what I was saying about the speakers. You see, if you cover this side, this is not dual speakers. You cover the other side, sounds exactly the same. But you cover this side, you don't hear nothing. So it all depends on how you holding your phone. So a lot of times you holding your phone with two hands and you texting or whatever, be careful not to cover that speaker. But I'm digging the quick menu. On the bottom, you got your flashlight. One button, turn the flashlight right on. I use that pretty much all the time. When I jump in the car, I'm constantly dropping change out of my pocket, dropping stuff on the floor, dropping evidence in the car that I want to pick up. I just quickly pull out my iPhone. When I got the phone out, swipe it up, one button to the flashlight, find all the evidence, pick it up, get rid of it, and keep it moving. You also, you also got your clock, you got a calculator, and you got quick access to your camera if you're one of those people that don't like having the camera on your main dock. I like to keep it on the dock, so wherever I'm at, if something go down, I just, press one button, get right into the camera. So I'm digging that about the new menu. I like the way the new notification bar looks. You see, you got your calendars. You got all of that. You got all your stuff. You got all your missed joints. So I'm feeling the new aspects of iOS 7. I'm not going to turn this into an iOS 7 review because you've seen 1,000 of those already. So you already know the difference between iOS 7. It just looks better. Everything looks updated, especially if you've been using Apple for a while. You got tired of that same boring interface. So now it looks a little bit better. The multitasking looks a little bit different now. Now you have the big cards view. Before, this was kind of stuff that you had to jailbreak your phone in order to get. Now, there's no lag on this phone. I'm doing this stuff behind the camera, so I'm really not swiping and pressing the way I'm supposed to be pressing. But like you seen just now, that's one thing that just really kills me. I can't stand that when I open it up. I like to open up and quickly keep it moving. That little pause right there, I can't stand that. Now, people who have Android phones, you already know it's more customizable. You could go into the developer options. You could change the animation animation scaling and all that. So that's a good feature. But like I said, when you get the iPhone 5S, it's one size fits all. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. So iOS 7 looks a lot better, has a little bit more features to it. I'm just digging a new look to it overall. Especially, like I said, if you're bored with the regular iPhones that been out for the last couple of years. Next thing I like, the camera. Now, the camera on this is a great camera. Is it the best camera out on the market right now? Of course not. But it's a great camera, and that's basically the theme for this iPhone 5S. It's a good phone for people who's not the heaviest into tech. The camera on this is a simple camera. It's very easy to use. It's like a point and shoot. All you do, shoot, bang. It takes pictures real quick. You could get some good focus. Let me see if I got something that I could get a little focus on. If you want to get some good detail. And then you just go back to your pictures real quick. Not too many options on the camera though. That's one thing I will say. But I'm definitely feeling the camera on this. It's like I said, it's just a simple, easy to use camera. Perfect for when you're outside and something goes down and you really just need to get a quick picture. That's another thing. Let me show you from the lock screen. You can just swipe up to your camera real quick. So when you're outside and something going on, you just need a quick picture. You just point and shoot. That's it. You got some different video modes here, different camera modes. You can turn it into a square size picture or, the full size screen. You got what they call it, the pan, which is like the pano, which is a panoramic. And what I will say about the panoramic pictures, it takes a minute to get used to taking them. It's not as easy as it could be, as some Android phones are. You really got to hold your hand steady and you really got to do a good shot, but it works perfect. The panoramic pictures come out perfect. That's one thing I will say. And one thing I also definitely feeling about the camera is the slow motion. The slow motion camera. Now let me show you a quick video that I did with the slow motion just to give you an idea of how it looks. Let me pull up something really quick. All right, now this is a video I did with the slow motion camera real quick. Let me show you how it looks. Now, the first couple of frames is going to be full speed, and then it's going to drop the slow motion. Now, I was just chilling on the block. I went to the store, and I was standing outside. This was a couple of minutes ago today. You see a car drive by. I'm just filming the cars driving by. Now it switches to slow motion. So this is not me panning in slow motion. I was panning regular speed. You'll see another car come by right now with slow motion. Now, I haven't had a good chance yet to really use this, like catching like a good fight or something, and you can see somebody get punched in the mouth in slow motion. That would be nice. See somebody maybe fall down or something cute. Maybe you see your daughter do a backflip or something in slow motion. That would be nice. I haven't really played with it enough to catch some good videos yet, but you see now back to full speed. So you get an idea. So the camera is definitely a go. It's just like I said, it's just a basic camera. Nothing too fancy. You know, you got your HDR, not too many settings. You know, it's just, like I said, it's just a basic camera. You have all of these, you know, different filters. You got the fade and mono and all that stuff. You know, all your good old fashioned Instagram filters. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, it's a few choices, but this is basically more a point and shoot camera. Now, 8 megapixel camera with LED flash. That's about all you need. Now, if you heavy into photography and all of that, then you might want to go and get the Nokia Lumina with the big 23 megapixel cameras and all of that. But this is perfect for taking your selfies, all y'all ladies with the selfies and all that, and y'all dudes too. Like I said, I don't knock nobody's hustle. But this is just like a good camera for when you're outside and you want to take a picture of your lunch to put on Instagram, or you want to take a picture of your new Jordans, or you just got paid and you want to take a picture holding all your hundreds. You know what I'm saying? And throw it up on Instagram. This camera works perfect for that. Okay, perfect for that. So I'm feeling the camera on this. The display, I like the display on this. Like I said, it's just too small, but the display is very colorful, very vibrant. Like I said, I don't care about all the HD, 720, 1080p, all that stuff. Who cares? The bottom line is the display looks beautiful. And when you put the brightness up and you're outside in the sunlight, you can still see all your apps. You can still see all your text. That's what's important. Because I don't care if a screen is, 10 billion megapixels per square inch and showing 10,000 trillion colors and all that. If you get outside and the sunlight hits it and you can't see the screen, who cares? So the iPhone does a good job with the screen, just a little too small. That's the theme of this video. Everything is nice, but just too small. And the main thing I like about this phone now, I'll wrap this video up real quick. The main thing I like about this phone is the floss factor. Now, the phone itself, as a floss factor, no. You're not getting too much floss factor with this, because when you go outside and you go to the club, you go to the bar, you go to a restaurant, you go to school, you go to work, you're not going to be the only person in there with a gold iPhone 5S. You can forget about that. Okay, anywhere you go, if you walk around the airport, you're going to see 10,000 people with an iPhone. Everybody got an iPhone. Everywhere you go, all the little kids. My daughter got an iPhone, you know what I'm saying? So you're not really shutting down the game as far as floss factor with the iPhone 5S. But one thing I will say about the floss factor with the iPhone 5S and the iPhone 5 and all iPhones is accessories. Now, y'all know I'm a real accessory whore. I like buying accessories. I like buying a whole bunch of cases and all that. One thing I will say about the iPhone is you got unlimited amount of cases. Okay, so if you're a type of person that likes customized cases and you like to rock different cases every day, when you buy your Galaxy Note, yeah, they got a lot of cases out right now, but they got, the main companies, they got a couple of cases out, whatever, here and there, but you don't have the selection that you have with your iPhone. The iPhone, you have an unlimited selection of cases. There's too many cases to go around. They got certain companies that only make iPhone cases. You know what I'm saying? So the floss factor with the iPhone accessories is off the chart. There's a million accessories, a million different products, and basically iPhone is the mainstream phone. So every company that makes phones and make phone cases is definitely gonna have some iPhone cases, and there's just too many accessories to go around. Like you see, I got my regular, day-to-day kind of cases, but I also have, fashionable cases. Shout out to everybody who's seen the knuckle case video. Look, this is not a weapon or nothing. This is just a case when you want to look different. When you're wearing a leather jacket and you're going to the motorcycle club and all of that, you're throwing a knuckle case or whatever. It's just something different. It's a good conversation starter. Then I also got, charge cases. And these come all day, a dime a dozen. Cases that you could just plug in, charge the phone up. Some phones don't have a charge case yet. Now, some companies do make them, like for the Galaxy S4. You have extended battery cases and all that. But if you just went out and bought an HTC One Max, you ain't going to have a charge case. You know what I'm saying? So I got a charge case. You get customizable cases. Shout out to everybody who's seen the Exovault video with the custom cases. So you got a whole bunch of variety of cases that you could get for your iPhone 5S. So that makes this phone a perfect fashion accessory. So if you're really not into the smartphone world and, you don't really care about all of these customizations. You don't care about custom ROMs and all this other mumbo jumbo. If you know, especially like a lot of ladies, not saying that ladies ain't into that, but a lot of ladies, you just want the cutest phone out. You know, a lot of dudes, you just want the phone that everybody got. You don't want to look like you falling behind in the times. So, you know, dudes that not really into tech and all of that, you just say, look, I want the newest phone out. When I pull my phone out, I want people to know that I'm hip. So you get an iPhone 5S. You know, it's definitely a hipster phone. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got it. It's very trendy. You know what I'm saying? So ladies pulling out the iPhone with all the sparkly cases and all that, you got 1,000 cases to choose from. So that's why I say the floss factor on the iPhone 5S is serious, because there's no end to the accessories that you could get. So all in all, the number one question is, should you buy an iPhone 5S, or should you get yourself a Galaxy Note 3? Should you get yourself a HTC One Max? Should you get yourself a HTC One? Should you get a Galaxy S4? Should you get a Moto X? Should you get a LG G2? Should you get a Nexus 5? What phone should you get? Well, that all depends on the user. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to do some comparison videos. We'll do a head up against the Note 3. We'll do a head up against the HTC One Max. We'll do a head up against the HTC One. We'll do a few head up videos because a lot of cats been asking me to do that. But my personal opinion is, if I only had to carry one phone, it definitely wouldn't be an iPhone 5S. Definitely wouldn't. Because it's just too small for me and it doesn't do enough. You know, we're not even talking about features, and you know, as far as NFC and S-Beam and all the, you know, all these Android features that's really killing the market right now. We're not even talking about that. You know what I'm saying? There's no NFC on this, no S-Beam, no, you know, it's a lot of stuff that's out right now on other phones that clearly make it a better phone than the iPhone 5S. But, you know what I'm saying? It depends on you. If you want a nice fashion accessory, if you want a nice, simple, easy-to-use phone that's 100% reliable, you're not going to have to reset it. You're not going to have to worry about, you know, the phone freezing and having all kind of issues and bugs. You know what I'm saying? Then this is the phone for you. But me personally, I wouldn't call this the best phone on the market. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give this phone a solid 8. You know what I'm saying? It does what it's supposed to do. It just doesn't do enough for my personal taste. So there you have it. That's my personal review of the iPhone 5S. It's still a good phone. It's still a go. But I couldn't use it as my main phone. I used it for a week and a half, but I was still cheating and using my Note 3, still cheating and using this HTC One Max. I just can't use it as my main phone. It just doesn't do enough for me. Now, if you already got an Android phone, this is important right here. If you already got yourself an Android phone, what's this? I got some grease, some chicken grease on my case. If you already got an Android phone, and you're looking for a backup phone, then this is perfect. Get yourself a backup phone, an iPhone 5S. Because, you know, me now, I'm just a phoneaholic, so I got a bunch of phones and all that. I don't need to have all these Android phones. I should be mixing it up with BlackBerry and Windows and all that. But me personally, I just hate Windows phones. I'm done with BlackBerry OS. So, you know, I just got a whole bunch of different Android phones or whatever. But the iPhone 5S is definitely my #1 backup phone. Especially because of the size. As much as I hate the size, but on days that when I just want to go to the gym and I got on some sweatpants or something, I want to run on the treadmill. You don't want to be running on the treadmill with these two giant phones in your pocket. Your pants going to be flapping back and forth. You know, you're going to be going crazy. But, you know, this is the type of phone that you can take the case off. You can slide it right in your shirt pocket. Doesn't take up any space. I don't care if you're one of those dudes that wear the leather jeggings and the Tigerson spandex pants and all that craziness that's going on right now. This phone will definitely fit in your pocket. But if you wear men's size clothes and real man clothes, you know what I'm saying, then this phone will definitely fit in your pocket, but it'll also fit in your shirt pocket, also fit anywhere in your car. This is a good phone that you can slide under your pillow at night, you know, without having to worry about, you know, rolling over on some big giant phone. This phone, the size on it makes it perfect for your backup phone. So that's what I would say. This is on a backup phone level, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10 for backup phone. But as far as main phone status, this phone is a solid 8. And there you have it. Shout out to everybody that rock with me on Facebook, Foursquare, Twitter, Google+. Shout out to all the Google gangsters. I see y'all holding down that Facebook page. Shout out to everybody hitting me up on Voxer. And a special shout out to everybody rocking with me on Instagram. Y'all know that's where we at. Full time, 100%, full throttle. It's your boy Floss. I'm going to catch up with y'all on the next trip. All y'all haters, all y'all trolls, say it with me. Fellas, let me bring it back. Let me bring it back because y'all wasn't ready. Fellas, ladies, say it with me. All y'all haters, all y'all trolls, go eat a fucking dick. It's your boy Floss. I'm out. Deuces.